my name's Lauren, welcome to Kook Spooks. On this channel, we know I hate a lot of things. Maybe I've mentioned it once or twice. One of the things I hate, or that I have a preconceived idea that I'm gonna hate, is Sally Rooney. Like, I want to love her, I want to love this, like, sparse, modern, new school of writing that she has, like, absolutely kickstarted into being. And I respect it, but I want to love it. And with Conversations with Friends about to come out in the UK, I thought I would read all of her books and get a definitive opinion on whether I hate her or not. So this could either result in me having a new fave, me being very bored, or me being fuming, but correct. And to kick that off, let's talk about Normal People, because I have already read that one. So I read this last summer because I was told it was summery vibes, and I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it, but we already owned it. Jessie had already bought it. Jessie had watched the TV show, or was excited about the TV show. I can't remember when the show came out. And like, I was ready to be proven wrong. I was really looking forward to the fact that I might surprise myself and enjoy it, because I don't tend to enjoy contemporary romance. And it feels weird to call this a romance, but for reasons we'll get into, I don't really know what else to call it. So it follows two students from when they're in the last year of sixth form all the way up and through university. They go to the same sixth form and they start a secret relationship. Why do they need to keep it a secret? What barriers do they face as white, cisgendered, heterosexual people that would not allow them to be together? I don't know either. Basically, they both get into Trinity University and off they go. They're not doing the same course, but they are kind of moving in the same circles, seeing the same people in each other's lives still. They go to highly intellectual dinner parties and talk about things I've never heard undergrads talk about. This kind of faux intellectual, pretentious. Maybe it's because I went to a poly, but at undergrad we knew we were smart and we didn't need to prove it. But throughout they do my least favourite thing in fiction. They purposefully miscommunicate everything they talk about, and so they are breaking up and getting back together and breaking up, like just because they won't tell each other what they're thinking. And it's such a lazy fucking trope. I hate it so much. Like, the second someone's like, oh yeah, it's got a lot of miscommunication in it, I just I can't even express how much I hate it. It's like you're not even writing a book at that point. And this like miscommunication is used to fool you into thinking there is a plot, because there has to be a plot, because character-driven novels are supposed to be driven by characters and not two wet wipes. And like, you cannot have miscommunication stand in for character development. Like, if something comes about because of that, if they have a deep internal reverie about it, but they don't, that's it. Like, Miss Rooney, I see what you're trying to do. I see this sparse writing style. I see the millennial gaze. I see this kind of attempt at a feminist-driven novel. I see you representing depressed bitches. But, like, you're not healing me. You're not upping my meds. Like, I give that 2 stars. So far I'm right. Hello, I'm back to talk about Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. At this point, I've finished Normal People quite a while ago. I've let it sit for a while. I've had this idea for the video. I was like, yeah, you know, you can't just take one example of an author's writing and assume everything else is going to be exactly the same. So I can see now that the tropes of the Sally Rooney cinematic literary universe really are starting to get entrenched at this point. They're crystallising, and I, for one, hate them. Oh, she's a Trinity student who has a poor relationship with her da. Oh, she's poor, and yet she can afford to drop everything and go and stay at her friend's villa in the south of France for, like, a week and a half. Oh, she's having a class crisis because she doesn't know how to speak to her working class mum anymore because she's better than them now that she's been to university. A penchant for being hit during sex. But I'll give her this. She spiced it up a little bit by adding, what? Endometriosis. So let's do a summary. It's actually really hard to do a summary because these books are so similar. So we follow two best friends who dated in high school, who both went to Trinity. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
And now are performance poets, which is only mentioned kind of like twice, or like seen twice throughout the story. At one of these readings right at the beginning, they meet this photographer who invites them back to her place, and they meet her husband. And essentially our main character starts an affair with the husband, and that's the story. That's the story. But the other little bit of extra spice was bisexuality. Yeah. Sally Rooney said gay rights.
Okay, gay rights!
This is clearly a case of write what you know, because it was exactly the same as Normal People, beat for beat, voice for voice, it was the same. And it's also clearly semi-autobiographical, but you're telling me that this bitch, this woman, is asking all these men to hit her during sex? Like, Sally, stop writing books and go to therapy. And something else I've noticed in her writing is there is like a commentary on what's happening in the world and how these intellectuals talk about it, and how they all kind of sit around and philosophize, like, oh, isn't it terrible, and have these quite educated takes, but they're also awful people who don't actually do anything. I understand that that is probably meant to be a commentary on this kind of person, but also it isn't. The way it's written, it's like they're grandstanding and, oh, isn't that good of them? Like, there's no awareness that they could actually be doing something about it. Which is just personally frustrating for me, to be honest. And again, I feel like any development that happened, any movement in the plot was very Deus Ex Machina, was very much like dropped out of nowhere. Somehow though, this was better than Normal People. I feel like it was slightly more justified in the things that happened than Normal People. Purely because it didn't have that fucking miscommunication trope nearly as much as Normal People did. This one can have 2 stars, you know, I'm feeling generous. So those were the 2 books that Jessie had already bought. I don't really want to go at this point and buy anything else by her, because I'm 2 out of 3 I think now, and that ratio cannot be saved. But we're committed to the video. So I found that there was some of our stuff on Scribd, so I've got a free trial for Scribd, and I'm going to see if the new book is on there. It's called Beautiful World, Where Are You? Wish me luck. Beautiful world, where are you? More like, my will live, where are you? Let's get into it. It's the newest addition to the Sally Rooney literary universe, and there was a lot of controversy surrounding it because due to the Palestine-Israel conflict, Sally Rooney said she would not allow her book to be translated because of her correct support of the Palestinian people, which was, you know, a really brave thing to do, to risk throwing yourself headfirst into that narrative when it didn't necessarily call for you to be involved in it. And I respect that. Like I say, I respect everything Sally Rooney is trying to do. I don't want it to seem like I'm like trying to tear a woman down, you know. More power to her that she is successful with these books. Having said that, I hate them. And with this new installment in her universe. We're seeing her enter her tradwife phase, I think. You know, 5 in this one. We are following a couple of characters this time. We are following a girl who is working in the city, kind of deeply unsatisfied with the job. She's just come out of a long-term relationship, doesn't really know what she's doing in her life. The other girl we follow is her best friend, who had a book published and is not enjoying the fame that comes with that. Is this another self-insert Sally Rooney? Yes, of course it is. So she takes herself off to the countryside in a big house and is just trying to write the next book. She's written 2, she's trying to write a 3rd. Is this familiar? And we follow them as they kind of go through these relationships. The girl who lives in the city rekindles an old flame of the boy who used to live next door to her. She went out to Paris with him for a couple of years, and like they had a thing that they never admitted was a relationship. Then they split up, and now he's back, and like he's with someone, but they're having an affair. And then our writer lady out in the sticks falls in love with a local lad, and ends up kind of just having a little relationship with him, and we follow that. Again, we see people in love having no reason to not get into a relationship and just not doing it anyway. Like, there's literally no barrier to these people being together. And there are multiple points at which the girl who works in the city is offered a relationship with this man who I think was called Simon. And like, told him to fuck off. And then was really sad about the fact she told him to fuck off for no reason. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's not even miscommunication at that point. That's purposefully saying no to something you want to say yes to. We follow these people having increasingly awkward sex. Like when someone tells you he's a sex offender, that's the impetus to sleep with him for the first time? Okay. And like, listen to this audiobook, because I did manage to find it on Scribd, on the tube for someone who is easily embarrassed when these sex scenes are getting like more and more ridiculous and like more grovelly. Like, I wasn't just embarrassed because of like the saucy content, because you know I'm me. I was embarrassed for the characters. I was like,
are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Interestingly, it also tackled the early pandemic, which I wasn't expecting it to do. So like right at the end of the story, it's interesting because these characters have mostly been kept in touch by email anyway, because you know that's a relatable millennial thing to do, keep in touch by email. So it just kind of continues, but like it's almost like the epilogue to the story is like, here's the last email from the pandemic, and by the way, happily ever after, tradwife transition complete. But it, I suppose, even though it was a frustrating ending, it did ground it in other people's reality a little bit more, not just in this bubble of Sally Rooney's echo chamber. And I also like that the characters are aging with her. So, you know, her first book, the characters were fresh out of sixth form, just starting at uni. Second book, they were in second or third year. Third book, they've just graduated and they're out in the real world. And I appreciate, instead of fleeing to the south of France, because you can afford to do that, they go to Italy this time, and it's for a reason. It's linked to someone's job. So, you know, it's starting to address those tropes, if not actually changing them. You can see there's this attempt at slightly tweaking the content, if not the style. There's like an attempt at developing to look at a different stage of life. Having said that, the vibes were rancid. 1 star. So I thought that was it for Sally Rooney, to be honest. I thought there were those 3 books and done. Turns out there's another book, which is a duology of short stories called Mr. Salary and Colour and Light. And just to top off this exquisite cocktail of masochism. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. Maybe I'll get it finished tonight, maybe it'll be tomorrow, but this vlog just got extended. You thought we were done, but no, here we are with the absolute atrocity of this post-credit scene to the MCU, the SRCU that is Mr. Salary and Colour and Light. It is actually the same night, as you can tell by the raggedness of my little bun. I was like, I don't need to suffer for another day thinking about Sally Rooney, so I'm lying in bed. I'm done. I'm done for the day. So, the title story, Mr. Salary, is a let's revisit the top hits Sally Rooney trope fest. How she fitted this many in to this short of a story, I don't fully understand. What we've got this time is a girl returning to Ireland, hooking with her much older rich male friend who she once had a thing with and ended for no reason, even though they both loved each other and them knowing it's a bad idea to hook but doing it anyway. And the reason she's come home is because her shit dad isn't just shit, he's dying. Yeah. Colour and Light, get this, not only miscommunication, but a class divide. You could set it to music. You actually could set it to music. We've got a rich filmmaker who returns to her local area and a local lad working at a hotel, and how they go home together after watching some fireworks for the Colour and Light, and they don't sleep together because of miscommunication. Honestly, the worst post-credit scene since Doctor Strange 2. Don't go see Doctor Strange. No, don't do it. So basically, I'm too tired to give you a coherent thesis statement at this moment in time. So I'll see you after work tomorrow. So I'm back from work. I'm in my cozies. I have had thoughts on the tube that I would like to share. So, thesis statement of this video, the point, the line of inquiry. Do I hate Sally Rooney? Yes. However, I'd like to put like a caveat on that. Do I hate Sally Rooney's works? Yes. Do I hate Sally Rooney as a person? Probably not. She's probably sound, to be honest. But like, I respect the craft, and I respect the fact that she has started this like movement. I think I've mentioned a few times of like sparse, honest, unflinching looks at millennial lives. I don't think she does it particularly realistically, but I think that's what she's trying to do, and I absolutely respect that. Like, the hustle of monetizing your trauma, go off, like, respect it to the max. Wish I could do the same. The issue for me is that her works are just too similar for me to see any range or to see any development as time goes on, and like the next book comes out and the next book comes out, and I do see those tiny incremental changes of topic or changes of very minute changes of situation, character, but I don't know what else she can do. This is the only thing she's shown me and I hate it. Like, it's just not for me. Like, it's my least favourite trope over and over again, which I kind of expected it to be, so I'm not surprised that I didn't enjoy it, but I went in wanting to be proved wrong. So maybe if you are a masochist who enjoys that, these might be for you. But I'm trying to know happiness again at some point in my life, so if she brings out another book, I can confidently say, I don't want to read that. I don't like Sally Rooney. If there are any other authors you want me to investigate discography, bookography, canon of, let me know down below. Because as much as this was like frustrating and ridiculous, I enjoyed the process of it. I enjoyed the process of finishing something I didn't necessarily enjoy and trying to engage with it and figure out what it was I didn't like, rather than just having this knee-jerk reaction of, oh shit. So yeah, I've got a few other authors in mind who I could do this for. No prizes for guessing who one of them is if you've been watching this channel for a while. But let me know down below. Bye!